This is the reading on page 208, predicting and preparing for natural disasters. And I have my pens here ready to annotate. In 2011, there were 820 natural disasters all over the world. They killed more than 27,000 people and caused $380 billion in damage. In most years, an average of 65,000 people die in natural disasters. Many others lose their homes in the destruction. How can we prevent these terrible losses? Okay, so the question they're asking here is how can we prevent these terrible losses? So my guess is the rest of this article is going to give us some ways to do that. One way to prevent these losses is to predict natural disasters. Okay, so I'm going to write it here. Predict natural disasters. With new technologies, scientists can now predict some events. So I'm going to write it here. Technology. Satellites show massive storms as they develop over oceans. Okay, so an example is satellites. Special equipment shows if there's movement under the earth. Okay, so I'm going to put here satellites help us find storms. Another example is special equipment. It's hard to write on here. Movement of earth. So if you want, you can just circle this. Satellites show massive storms. Special equipment shows movement under the earth. When there's an earthquake deep in the oceans, scientists can predict the tsunami. Earthquakes are much more difficult to predict. Some people believe that animals know when an earthquake is coming. Okay, so this talks about earthquakes. Hard to predict. And then here it's talking about, but animals know. For example, in Haicheng, China, in February 1975, many animals began to behave strangely. Government officials believed that this was a warning that an earthquake was coming. They ordered everyone to leave the city. A few days later, there was a strong earthquake. The next year, there was a stronger earthquake in another city in China. This time, however, the animals did not behave strangely. So this kind of shows that, yeah, sometimes it's true that animals can sense earthquakes, but sometimes they can't. Most scientists believe that it is only possible to predict where an earthquake is likely to happen. They do not believe that it is possible to predict the precise date and time of the earthquake. So make a note of that. It's kind of hard to write here on the side, but scientists can predict where, but not when, an earthquake will happen. Scientists know that before some earthquakes occur, there are often small movements or tremors that shake the earth. Remember we mentioned a few weeks ago when I have a comma with or and another word, that's usually a definition. So a tremor is a small movement. It is possible that animals may feel these small movements and begin to act strangely. However, because earthquakes do not always follow these tremors, scientists cannot use this event to predict earthquakes accurately. So one important thing is tremors, usually happen before earthquakes, but not always. Although we cannot predict most natural disasters, it is possible to prepare for them. Many governments have warning systems. Okay, so I'm going to write here, prepare for disasters. And then number 1, government warning systems. When a big storm or tsunami is coming, the warning system can tell people to move away. This can save lives. Japan is a world leader in preparing for earthquakes and tsunamis. After an earthquake in Kyoto in 1975, they built an early warning system. When a massive earthquake hit Japan in 2011, there was a warning a few seconds after the first tremor. Although many people died, thousands of others lived because of the warning. They were able to escape the tsunami that followed the earthquake. Unfortunately, in many areas of the world, there are no warning systems. Scientists predicted the tsunami of 2004, but there was no warning system for thousands of people along the coast of the Indian Ocean. So an example for the government warning system would be Japan, if you want to write that down in your notes. The people who live in zones with frequent natural disasters should also prepare for them. They should store extra food and water. Okay, so I'm going to put here, store food and water. People should prepare. Because before they talked about government, right? They should also make a plan to contact and find people in their family. Make contact plan. If there's a disaster, they should know where to find important news and information. Education about natural disasters is crucial. Okay, so here it's going to talk about education. Schools can teach children what to do in a disaster and to understand the warning systems of a disaster. Schools teach kids. An 11-year-old tourist named Tilly Smith was on a beach in Thailand with her family on December 26, 2004. A lot of bubbles appeared in the water. Then the water went out very far. The beach was almost dry. Tilly remembered a school lesson about tsunamis, and she knew these were warning signs. She told her parents, and they told others. Many people were able to run to a safe place. So an example would be Tilly Smith and tsunami. Natural disasters can cause terrible damage and loss of life. We cannot prevent them. However, we can predict some kinds of disasters, and our ability to predict other kinds of disasters is improving. We can also prepare for disasters. If people and government prepare carefully, we can reduce the consequences of natural disasters.